folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you with my co-host Lucky Stone and our special guest Grandpa Brian, all the way from Arizona tonight. That's right, no cabin in the woods for you.
Nope.
All righty, well, let's see. What do we got tonight? We are going to be talking a little bit about, of course, what's on everybody's mind, and that is the weather. The weather. Getting hit by big hurricanes in North Carolina and in Florida, pretty much all within weeks of each other. Is this just coincidence, or is this made to order, as it says here on my back screen? Was this caused, or was this a normal event? What's up with you guys? Do you think this was a normal, everyday, normal occurrence, or do you think, maybe there's something to it?
Oh, there was definitely something to it. They actually directed it with frequency to hit where they wanted it to hit and with the intensity that it hit with. So don't be fooled. They knew what they were doing, and they directed it right to where they needed it to, both of them.
Yeah. Well, and that's Lucky. What do you think?
Weather's crazy. It's hard to predict these things, but what is their target? What is the reason they would hit North Carolina and Walt Disney? Disney World. What was their end game?
Yeah. That's people have. Oh, go ahead.
The spot in North Carolina that had the most damage. It has a rare form of lithium that they want, and it is found no place else in the world but right there in North Carolina, where the mass part of the damage was. So they're trying to remove the population so they can get in there and extract all that rare lithium.
Could that be true? Yes, I would imagine so. Look at here. I got the headline: Hurricane Helene, damage to cost between $95 and $110 billion. And as you can see, they put, here's the funny part, is they put how many billions of dollars each one of these hurricanes cost. But the thing is each year the price of everything goes up. So, if this hurricane
this year's bad. I mean, everything's a lot higher now.
Yeah, so technically there might not have been so much damage, but yet it still cost just as much, if not more. So I know the damage was bad. Those towns were totally destroyed. The waters got way higher. But then the big question is, have these hurricanes been directed? Do they, and if they can direct them, why are they directing them where they're directing them? Is there a purpose for each and every one? We could see the one with North Carolina. What about Florida? Is there a reason for Florida?
I honestly have no idea why they would hit. It hit right over Disneyland or Disney World, Jersey World.
Yeah.
And what would be the reason to target Disney World?
Yeah. Get rid of Mickey Mouse. That I don't know. Some Saturnian sun says some weather patterns do happen naturally. Not all the elites have all the control, although they would like to, and that is true. I mean, hurricanes been going on a lot longer than people have had weather weapons, right? And is there weather weapons? That's the next biggest thing. Can they control the weather?
Well, let's go hypothetically speaking. Let's just say they did create the one that hit North Carolina. Everything has a reaction. So maybe the Florida one was the outcome from when they controlled the one in North Carolina. There was a reciprocating factor which caused another one to happen and hit Florida that would follow a similar pattern, but again, parallel. So maybe there's something to that effect where anything that they do, there's going to be some kind of opposite reaction or another thing. So maybe the one in North Carolina was planned, but the one in Florida was not, and they couldn't stop it because, again, something worse happened. I remember there was something about a hurricane where they did try to do something years ago, and it just, the stuff hit the fan. Just things went nuts where they sent a plane over that dropped it to help dissipate some of the weather to make it rain more over the ocean so it wouldn't. And the thing went down and then went back up and went worse before it hit landfall. So I have heard that they've tried to do things, dropping things from planes, and maybe that they're aware of things that they do control, and then the things that they go, okay, we're gonna live with the consequences of this one to see what happens afterwards. And maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm just shooting at ideas. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, does any of us really know? Not so sure. Grandpa Brian, what's your thoughts?
How can a storm produce 65 inches of rain? I mean, that's not normal for a storm to do. The funny thing is the area that it hit, North Carolina, a lot of them people don't have flood insurance because it doesn't flood there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So now a lot of these people are really going to be destitute because they're going to have to rebuild with probably no insurance money because they're going to get denied because they did not have that type of insurance.
Yeah. If you live in a mountain and you live above the flood stage and, you're thinking, hey, I'm pretty safe here. It doesn't flood, and we're way above whatever it's flooded in record history. But see, the thing is our history is very in the scheme of things. Let's put it in the scheme of things. In the millions of years that the earth has been here, the time they have recorded of floods and things, especially in the United States, is very minute. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So who's to say that, well, this is what the highest flood stage I've ever had, and then someday, well, we had a big rain, and now that flood stage is now went from here to here. Now this is the record. You better build your house above this level. But who's to say that we don't get another rainstorm that's 75 inches someday? Maybe not in our lifetimes, but 200-300 years from now, it's 75 inch, and now the flood stage here. Well, I built my house right above the flood stage. You see, that's so, and being weather, it comes naturally. So how do you say it? So I don't know, but I do have some proof, and here we go. It says weather warfare, believe it or not. This was from 1972, Science for People, Volume 4. It says the United States government has put the weather into an arsenal of weapons for use against the insurgent movements throughout the world. Now, they don't say in one country, they say throughout the world. According to the preliminary report issued by Science for Vietnam in Chicago, the U.S. military has already employed weather modification techniques in Indochina and is now engaged in top secret research and planning to turn the seasons themselves into weapons of destruction. At the request of a member of the UN, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. So you get what I'm saying here? Yeah. So this goes on to Pentagon Papers once. For the Vietnam thing, for this Operation Popeye in 1967. So this actually was a thing. This actually happened.
But we've always been able to, seeding clouds has always been, we've had it for years. That's what happened with that hurricane where they wanted to they seeded it so it would rain over the ocean, and thinking that they would weaken it so it wouldn't be that bad, and it did weaken it, and then it just turned around and got worse.
Yeah, well, and I agree on that. So in the theory that Grandpa Brian said with the needing the minerals there, what if they know that that seeding it to stop it only made more rain? Would it not make sense to seed it and make more rain over a certain area then? Trial and error, you know what I mean?
But we would know about it if they seeded it because of all the, I mean, there would be something. There'd be planes flying over it, and no one, I don't think they'll fly. I don't even know. I never investigated planes flying over it. But
Well,
I
you
do
wouldn't
know
know.
that,
It's a big storm. It's
Yeah.
a hurricane. You're in the house. You're not outside going, hey, look at the airplanes over there seeding the hurricane. Most people during a storm are in their house. They're looking straight out, or they're under cover. The lights are out.
All the planes are controlled, though. You have you know, everything is, they're outside of the government. You know, in an international FAA that watches over a plane. So if the government started flying over you know, they would just, why are there planes flying over this hurricane? You know, and then they'd have to explain it.
Well, and that's the thing too is, you know, if they turn off their transponders, they're invisible. And like those planes that do the chemtrails and stuff, most of them aren't, we don't know where they come from. And here's the next thing. What if it isn't a plane at all? What if, you know, we're in the modern era? What if it's a spaceship, or what if it's a, you know, a satellite above the earth, you know, seeding it from there? They say that they can shoot laser beams into the hurricane and direct it where they want it to go. I don't know. I mean, I don't know any of this stuff. This is just hypothetical guesstimation kind of thing. But, you know, hey, we're talking about it because a lot of people have this on their mind. And there's information out there. That's the worst part, that says they can do this stuff. That's the thing. It's like, oh, no, we can tie our shoes, but we never tied our shoes. Don't worry. We never did it. You know what I'm saying? It could possibly be. There's article after article. If you go on the internet and look this up, here's meteorological weapons. Are no more than military application of meteorological weapons science and technology. In more detail, it is the military application of the changing weather artificially. The reason why weather can be changed artificially is due to the unstable factors such as thermal factors and dynamical factors in the atmosphere. See, they're starting to know more and more and more about the atmosphere and how to do large amounts. It says it's only a small amount of energy can trigger a large amount of energy transfer. The result of such energy transfer in the atmosphere will lead to changes of weather and climate in certain areas. If people have certain purpose in their mind, they can add a certain amount of energy to the atmosphere and change the weather in the direction that they expect. This is the basic principle behind changing weather artificially. Do you see? We've been talking about this for a long time. Can humans change the weather? Can we use our minds? And what does it say? And this is a key thing. If people have I'm going to repeat this again. Sorry, people. If people have a certain purpose in their mind, they can add a certain amount of energy to the atmosphere. Does that not tell you something? I think that's a good discussion point right there. What do you have to add to that?
Well, you're talking about people getting collectively together, not meteorological weapons, not technology, but people using their psychic abilities together to create the weather. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Well, I mean, the thing is this is coming out of this you know, they're talking about the government, and the government is basically saying, hey, we know that people, if you have a certain purpose in mind and you have enough people, they can add a certain amount of energy either to the atmosphere or anything. You know, we always talk about how powerful of beings we are.
Okay.
And
you're being a little convoluted. I need you to be direct. Are you saying spiritual energy, or you're saying using weapons, electronics?
Well, Well,
Which
what
one
I'm
are you
saying,
talking about? Because these are two different things entirely.
okay,
There's the
but
minds of people,
yes,
and then there's using science and technology. Those are two separate things entirely. And I think you're combining them and confusing the heck out of me. Because we're going to talk about them, we have to talk about them separately because they do impact each other, but they're totally unrelated.
well, what I get out of this article is the fact that science says if you take a small amount of energy, it can trigger a large amount of energy transfer, correct? That's what it's saying. And then it's talking about how the government, military application of meteorological logical science and technology, right? So you got the government who says, hey, with a small amount of energy, we can, there's a giant energy transfer. But in the very wee bit of this, they say it's telling us that they learned it from the minds of people with a collective psyche. And then they try to do it. And then this is the basic principle behind changing weather artificially. I mean, that was just mind blowing because of the fact that they're saying, well, we've seen it naturally happen by psychic ability that people have, because we'll never admit that the people have a psychic ability, but we learn that, and then we learn to duplicate it and use it as a weapon. That's what I think this is saying.
Yeah,
that could be.
I mean, I do know people back when Arizona was having very little rain during was it 2 winters ago or 1 winter ago, and a bunch of people got together, and there was the most weather in the Sierra Nevadas, and it was the biggest snowpack, that lake in Las Vegas. I cannot remember, but it was very low. It was lowest than it's ever been, and they said that this is going to devastate Las Vegas unless they have a big snowpack this year. And that was the biggest snowpack they've ever had because people got together and used the collective energy to have it snow over the winter, because you need the snow over the winter for it to melt to fill Lake Mead.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's possible. I do know, it's a podcaster. His name is Joshua P. Warren. He got people together because he lives in Las Vegas. It was his, he's kind of a science, spiritualism science. He likes to investigate this kind of stuff, but he wants to use logic and reasoning. So he did this, and he's like, I think I overdid it. This is the biggest snowpack in history. We're good. Please stop.
Yeah, well, but that's the point. That's the point of this whole article, is that this guy is showing that with a bunch of collective minds, we can do amazing things. That's what my whole channel has always been about, is about amazing things that we can do, or, whatever. But, things like this weather stuff comes up, and, and it's devastating to all of us, but it really makes us realize what the power that we have, if we do it collectively. And in that basic bit, the government is, I always put it as, if I can think of it, somebody already has, or the government has. And if I think of it any differently, well, they'll copy that and use it as a weapon. Because that's what they want to do. I mean, hey, if it's like Max, he's doing the remote viewing. Well, where'd that come from? It started out with some guy saying, hey, I can see the future or something, and the next thing you know, the military took it over, and now they're doing remote viewing. And we can all do remote viewing, but the problem is the government weaponizes it. Says, if we get a bunch of guys together and they can, see the future or point things out in the world, well, then, we can weaponize that. Yay for us. It's the same way with this. It's saying, it basically says in the last tidbit of the sentence, They could see the purpose of our minds and into energy. And then it says the basic principle behind changing the weather artificially, which really kind of sucks for us. The good part about it is we would have to collectively get together to battle that, right? Now, how do they do that? That's the question. This is the bigger question. How do they do this artificially? And I got the answer right here. They build these big giant stations. And you probably will recognize this because you've probably seen it in other places, and it's called HARP. Now, they say it's for studying the atmosphere or whatever, but a lot of people say that they take all these thousands of antennas and they aim them towards the sky, and then things happen. Is this true? Have you ever heard of HARP? First off.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So we know HARP is a real thing. It says in 1993, the U.S. Air Force began construction, and of course, using our taxpayer dollars of $290 million, they would enable the government's foremost atmospheric research to study the ionosphere. Well, what else do antennas do? See? And the top layer of the Earth's atmosphere, of course, we're going to skip over a bunch of stuff. It's HARP, blah, blah, blah. It was located in the frozen wilderness of Alaska. And for a number of reasons, HARP's activities have drawn attention of citizens who are suspicious of organized practices. Of course it has. Everybody questions the government. But here's the thing. They put it way up in Alaska. Why would you put it in Alaska? All right? That's the next thing.
There's a lot of government land up there. It's kind of available. You need a lot of land for something like that, so that makes sense. Alaska.
It does. Absolutely. You are right on the money there.
Because if HARP can hit anywhere in the world, then they just want to go where they have the land, either be in the middle of the desert or be in the middle of Alaska.
Yep. So it goes on. It says over the years, HARP is officially accredited. They finally admitted it. Situated in a remote wilderness, already low population state, purposely to promote secrecy. HARP featured 360-degree radio transmitters, 180 antennas, 5 powerful generators that create geometric patterns in every direction when turned on. The antennas, each a foot thick and stretching 72 feet into the sky, continue to raise eyebrows. Okay, so what do we know that happens when something creates a geometric pattern? What is that?
Sigils?
Well, yeah, it's frequencies. Like when you make a frequency and you tap it in the sand. You've seen those experiments where they tap it in the sand and it makes the different things. Well, that's what they're I believe that's what they're saying. I mean, that's why I'm asking you guys. If you can make a geometric patterns in every direction when turned on, literally you are creating this frequency to do something with. They just say it in funny terms here. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Central pattern. Everybody says whatever this word is. Can you pronounce that? Symmetric patterns. Symmetric patterns. That's what. So anyway, so that's the thing. Okay, a section of the HARP antenna. Here's HARP. Okay, what is next though? This gets even better, people. Weaponizing the weather. Of course, it talks about HARP again. It talks about organization deliberately creates destruction on a global scale, causing earthquakes, cyclones, flooding, snowstorms, and other disasters around the world. Critics of HARP asserted that it has the capacity to send microwave radiation beneath the ground, strategically pinpointing fault lines. And at that size of HARP's field antennas, they have the potential, not saying they're doing it, potential for tremendous damage to the environment, as unlike other ionosphere research centers across the world, only HARP has the ability to focus the energy from the field into specific spots in the atmosphere. One of the countless earthquakes claimed to have been linked with HAARP was the Iran earthquake that killed around 500 people in 2017. And it goes on from there. Given us the facts, the U.S. government has openly discussed technologies used to interfere with the weather and cause earth changes. This was way back in 2005. Okay, but then it gets even better. This is where we're going to go. It talks about the ability to generate precipitation, fog, storms on Earth, to modify space weather, and the production of artificial weather. All are part of the integrated set of technologies which can provide substantial increase in U.S. or degraded capability of in an adversary to achieve global awareness, reach, and power.
Wait, who owns HAARP? Do you know who owns HAARP?
No, not I thought it was a government.
The United States government sold it to the University of Alaska. The United States Air Force owned it, and they sold it to the University of Alaska. The government doesn't own it anymore.
That's a good one. Okay.
So they sold it in 2024, I believe. So that's a problem. If it was one to control the hurricanes.
Yes.
No, 2015. It was sold in 2015. So that wouldn't be the one that controlled the hurricanes. So
yeah, but there's more than one HAARP station though. You know, there is. I know there's more than one HAARP station. I just couldn't find it right offhand. But
I don't think there is. I think there's only one. It's so big and it requires so much space. I think it's only in Alaska. I don't think there's two. I don't think there's more. I don't know though. I actually don't know. That's something I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Many age.
But the technology takes a lot of energy, so you can't really hide something that uses that much. So where's all the energy? Oh, because that's where the oil comes from. There's easy that they can power that thing with oil directly from Alaska. Just kind of siphon some of it off from the pipeline. That makes sense. But if you want another one hidden somewhere, it would be someplace that could use a lot of electricity, like the middle of the desert where they have all those solar panels. That would be the only place. It had to be the middle of the desert where they have solar panels, or somewhere where they have a lot of wind.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, I guess. I'm trying to look it up here. That's why I should have tried to find that earlier. But I do believe there is more HAARP stations. Hammer says, not only chomping, I'm grinding at the bit. The tiger is getting woke up. Yes, go get him, Amber. Yeah, because that's true. We're looking at. But here's the thing. Here we go with more stuff. Mind control. Not only does it, get onto the thing about weather, but mind control. The concept of mind control goes back centuries. It says, while manipulation of people's moods, emotions, decisions long been the way to control the masses, it's only recently that technology has been employed to do the job efficiently. What once was science fiction is now fact. HAARP critics claim that the facility is acting the citizens of the world telepathically, influencing thoughts with low frequency vibrations. Do you believe this or not? That's the question. What do you think, guys?
That's a tough one. Mind control. I believe there is some mind control, but because you talk about low frequency sounds. Infrasounds can come from anywhere. It can be on the TV. I mean, you don't need HAARP to do this. You could put it on the TV. They've done that with the advertisements. So yes, mind control happens all the time. But if you're aware of the mind control, you can control it and be aware. Why am I doing this? Why am I thinking it this way? That's what I do. And that's why the information you present to me, I need to understand it, because I don't believe that all the conspiracy theories are real. I think most of the conspiracy theories are put there to discredit something else.
I agree.
I believe the truth is somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to find that truth if it's hidden, because these conspiracy theories that I'm going to be going against much the media, because I don't watch TV. I'm going to start going against the conspiracy things. What does the conspiracy theories have to gain by putting this out there? What are they hiding? And I believe the truth is somewhere in between, and I'm going to find it.
Yes, it's usually somewhere in between, and that's the thing is, they're telling you can do mind control, but then in the same article, it's saying, other things like, oh, they would never do this. It's all conspiracy theory, and it's also saying that allegations are natural geomagnetic waves are being replaced with artificial low frequency ground waves matching the frequency of human brain waves, thus influencing human behavior. It said that HAARP also uses cell phone towers as electronical stimulation conductors able to reach and infect entire regions. Of course, if we skip over some of this other stuff, we get down here, there's no way to, it says, oh yeah, well, the waves are meters long, so there's no way they could control minds.
Well,
nah, there's no way.
there is a problem with mind control. Back in college, I worked with a hypnotist.
Yep.
And he said there is a small percentage of the population who cannot be hypnotized.
Yes.
And there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And I was talking with him for a little while, and he says, yeah, and son, you're one of them. That's why I need you on my team. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And just by talking to me and about realizing how I have this personality where I ask questions that don't seem relevant, but somehow pull out, and a lot of people just go with the flow. And, oh, this guy seems logical. This guy seems important. And he knows how to talk to people to know, yeah, I can manipulate that person. He did it more of as an education thing. But yeah, the funny thing about it is that there is a high population, like almost 80 to something, 90%. He believed it was more like 75 that can be 100% hypnotized. You can't get them to do anything against their moral, but a lot of people have limited morals when you challenge them. But then there are the other people who are literally, it's like a open and closed door where they can't be hypnotized. There's nothing you can do. So I think that mind control works to that, where they're aware that they can control a high amount of population and not to worry about that small group on the side, the 10%. So does mind control exist? Yes. Is it 100%? There's no way they can control 100%. Not 100% can be mind controlled. And like my professor said, 75%. A lot of the people say it's like almost to 90% now. Who knows?
Yeah. Now, you must have read the same book or had the same book, but I doubt that. But I read a book, and maybe I'll send it to you. But it was talking about the same thing about hypnotism, and it was something else. But yeah, it was saying that you can't control a mind who doesn't want to be controlled. And nowadays, most people want to be controlled. They want to just have somebody tell them what to do. Grandpa Brian, this is a good question for you. You worked on a crew. You were like the lead guy, right?
Yeah, I've been a lead guy before a few times.
On that crew. Most of them guys, they know kind of what to do, and you basically, they want you to tell them what to do every day, right?
Correct.
Yeah, they don't come in and say, hey, wait a minute, buddy. I'm going to do my, I don't want you to be telling me what to do. They want you go here, you go there, and they just look at, yeah, okay. They don't want anymore. Lucky you got a crew of people too. Do they want you to, or I don't know if your crew is quite the same, but do they want you to tell them what to do, or are they independent thinkers?
Oh, my job is they need to be to tell them what to do. My job is like, I have to say, I don't know what you do. You've got to give me the clues, the information. I'll help you. I call it, what do they call it? Data mining or word, whatever. There's a whole thing about, my job is supposed to be independent and unbiased. So if they come with a problem, I have to say, okay, give me the data so I can help you work on a solution, so you can write it down and say, this is our solution together. I can't give them a solution. And that's a problem, because people look to me to give them the solution because I do know so much. People are easy to manipulate that way, where People want the solution. They don't want to think. You're right. There's a high percent of people who do not want to think, which is another problem where I can't rise up in my company, and I'm realizing now it might be because I don't take things at face value. I just won't. Just if you tell me to do something, I need to understand the logic behind it because I'm not going to do it. And I have pushed back a lot, and I have justifiable reasons, but they don't like that. They want people to just bend to their whim and go, and then we'll figure out later. I'm like, I'm not taking responsibility for this decision. You telling me to do it, but I'm doing it, and it's my responsibility. And they don't like that. That's another thing is management wants lackeys to do what they say. They don't want you to think about it and try to use logic.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's the thing. And that's you're right. But in the big picture of things, just look at us. If we're the odd ones out that are not hypnotized, we already know that 90% of the other people are. And the people that are in our chat here, they're not the 90%. They're not the 90. They're the 10. You
can't say you're not hypnotized because again, sometimes we're looking for the solution and we're easily manipulated into an easy solution. You've also got to look and say, wait a second, why am I going on this path? The government is all bad, but this is the reason why. But wait, what am I missing? This conspiracy theorist, are they trying to manipulate me too? I think we're being manipulated on all sides, and that's what you got to be careful of.
Yeah. No, I agree. Amber says, thanks, Amber, for being here tonight. Mind control is simple things like street signs and billboards and sigils. Yes, and that can influence us too. Simple things we won't really, we can see the obvious. You can see that the cell phone is in my hand and it is watching and listening to me. I know that. But the billboard or some little stupid thing that's trying to control me is off to the side and doing whatever it's doing mindlessly in the background. That's influencing me, because I'm already aware that this thing has got my attention, so I think that's right. I think she's right on the money there. The little things. And like you said too, it's we might not even know it. We're probably all being it's terrible.
Yes, you've got to think. Okay, if you really believe in something and you're strong, and you go, yeah, this is true. Wait, what am I? You might have to think, what am I being manipulated into? That's the problem too.
Yeah,
it's easy. That's another thing. See, if your family and friends believe in this, it's just easy to go around with the group. I just can't do that. I always have to think.
Oh, yeah. We always have to think. I mean, so like I said, we're powerful beings, but we're being manipulated. And of course, we go back to the climate engineering, the weather warfare, and the collapse of civilization. It all goes hand in hand. People, this is affecting all of us. We know it or not. Pamela Jean, you're going to miss the best part. She says, I got to go to class. We're going to get into the alien stuff. As we get going, we got the HARP, Operation Popeye. If you've never heard it, look it up. That was the thing. We got satellites in the sky, and they could be beaming down to us, beaming up to us, controlling the weather. We've had people who've done plenty more research than I have, and they're talking about how these things could be way above us. We can see an airplane, but we can't see those satellites destroying us. They also have drones. Electric cloud seeding drones that you wouldn't even know it's there, which seems to be a drone is the most popular thing nowadays.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the drones. That is one of the problems there because those can't be traced because they're so tiny. Oh, they can be traced, but they're really difficult. Actually, no, they're actually made up so they can't be traced because the way they're built.
Yeah.
Plastic, a lot of plastic, very little metal. It's really hard to trace it without very little plastic and very little metal and a lot of plastic. It's really hard to trace them.
Yep, exactly. And then the big question. This is the biggest question of all. Did man invent this stuff? And if man invented this stuff, why would man be trying to control other men if he lives on Earth too? You see what you see where I'm going to go with this, I hope. Because if I was a human, why would I be beaming down thoughts and things to control my mind if I live here? It makes no sense. I could see him doing it to get minerals and things like that. But mind control, I'm thinking mind control, you're going to get bombarded with it too. So how do you know you're not, right? The government's already come out with these pictures like this and saying, hey, we already got aliens. Are these good aliens, bad aliens? We don't know. Are they controlling the weather? Are they controlling our thoughts using these HARP weapons? Just because some man invented it and put it up doesn't mean that in the background it's not being controlled by somebody who has higher intelligence and a bigger purpose for it. Now that's the big question of the day. Any questions or answers on that one? Or am I just barking up a weirdo tree?
I think you're barking up a weirdo tree.
Okay.
Everybody thinks that this is new. It goes back either the late 1800s or early 1900s. There was a major drought in San Francisco. Okay. And the scientists found out that spraying a liquid silver in the atmosphere, what it did, it actually drawed water molecules together. And when that happened, it actually started to rain. Immediately, our government made a patent for it and started investigating it and testing it. And then along came Korea. That is when they first started using it. And in 1962, the LBJ said in a news press conference, "He who controls the weather controls the world." Absolutely. Then in 1972 is during the in the late 60s, early 70s, during Vietnam, that is when they perfected the weather modification. And now with HARP, it's kind of funny. I think they installed parts of HARP in all of our weather detection radars, because now they can take these radars and make a frequency with them all together, because there's so many of them, and it can form walls or allow certain things to happen. So I think they actually instituted HARP into all of our radar equipment that we use for weather. So that way they can activate it through these radars, the frequency that they want to push to manipulate the weather. I mean, there was an 8-week period. I'd watch this rain just come in right across Illinois. As soon as I got to our state line, boom, evaporated. 8 weeks we went without rain. Wow. And it would rain in Illinois. So it get to the Indiana state line, boom, evaporate, be gone. So what was causing that to evaporate when it was coming to our state? Every time for 8 weeks.
Every time, yeah. Yeah.
So I think they learned when we had the big drought back in the 30s, late 20s, early 30s. I think they figured a way out to spray something in the air that actually disperses liquid and makes it evaporate to dry out areas where they can't grow crops. So I think they've been studying both aspects of it, making it rain and flood, but also causing droughts in certain areas to not allow vegetation to grow.
Well, and I totally agree. Lucky had confirmed that a little earlier when he said they tried to spray some stuff to dissipate the storm and it made it worse. Well, obviously they had a technique that they were trying to practice with already. You know,
yeah.
I mean, if it's like they create these, diseases, and then once you get one, they make sure they create a cure for it too. You know, you don't have one and not have a cure because you don't have a cure. Well, what good is it's just gonna. That's why I was saying this mind control. It just doesn't pick and choose who it's going to control. It would control everybody. So if you were a human living on Earth and you were purposely putting out mind control, how do you know you're not being affected?
But you just said the whole solution right there is that they won't invent the technology without a way of stopping it. So maybe they already had a way of controlling it so that they know that they can put it out there, control the population, and then they can have a way of preventing it from affecting themselves.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, it might be frequency. It might be something that they wear earplugs. I mean, a lot of the people who are running a government are elderly, and so wearing hearing aids would be normal.
They can also do it through nanobot technology.
Really?
Because come to find out now, when they are chemtrailing, they're also spraying nanobots in the air. And then those nanobots, they seek out us. And then they get in the bloodstream, and then they start collecting together. Oh, yeah, I think that's one of the main ways that they're going to try to use the mind control is through nanobots.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that definitely could be, because that seems to be the new thing: drones and nanobots. And Saturnian Sun says smaller population, easier to control. That is so true.
Yep.
And yeah, we're getting all kinds of answers here. Pamela Jean says some people saw energy type wheels in the sky during the hurricane. So does that, do you think, well, like I said, maybe some people did see some of those things during the hurricane. Maybe they were doing it as the hurricane was going. Like I said, most people aren't going outside when it's raining that hard and going, oh, look what I see, especially if it's 2:00 in the morning. It's dark. Yeah, it's a lot of questions to ask. And I think everybody needs to ask those questions to themselves, for themselves, and make a good decision, because there's too much out there, and if you ignore it, if we keep ignoring it, we will get it. We will. What's the word I'm looking for? If you keep ignoring something, it will eat you alive. Kind of thing. It will consume you. Or when you figure it out, or you want to retaliate against it, or do something, it's too late. It's like getting a cold, and you ignore it, and you ignore it, and you ignore it. You get tired, you don't rest, you don't eat right. Next thing you know, you got pneumonia, and then you're in the hospital, and you're saying, well, gee, if I would have just, took a day off and stayed home and got some rest, I wouldn't be here. Right?
True.
Yep.
So anyway, what's your guys' thoughts on some of this? Any thoughts on the mind control with the where it's leading us into the future? Put it that way.
Well, the first mind control was television.
Yeah.
And basically the news. They would tell you something to make you believe it, whether it happened or not, because you weren't there to observe. So you're just taking on faith that they're telling you the truth. So that was the first part of mind control, was basically the first newscast. Yep.
Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah. Well, now they try to make you forget stuff. Do you notice how fast all the information in the news that was focused on North Carolina moved over to Florida, like really, really fast? And then all of a sudden Florida, well, I don't, there was a lot of destruction there, but from what I see on the news, and I don't know anybody who's in Florida right now I wish they would tell me how it's going there, but it didn't seem like it was as bad as they made it out to be.
It wasn't as bad. They were predicting it to be a lot worse, because I know there was a lot of people sending energy to have it calm down before it made landfall. And yeah, it did push some sand up there and everything, but as far as they had the one tornado, but a lot of the footage I've seen, there really wasn't a lot of damage, just some water and sand. There wasn't a lot of trees uprooted and pulled over. So as a collective, a lot of people got together and sent energy to it to calm it down, which it calmed down for a while, then it picked back up right before landfall. And as soon as it hit landfall, it calmed back down again. So, like you said, I think the impact of a collective helped calm it down a little bit. And I'm sure there could have been a collective that was trying to even make it stronger, like you said.
Yeah.
So, you know, it works both ways. It's whose will was greater. And I think the people that had it calm down, I think there was more of them and their will was stronger than the other people that wanted it to be destructive. So
let's go back to the idea of if the one in North Carolina hypothetically was created and the one in Florida was hypothetically natural, the people who are natural would be able to contradict it, you know, much more easily, and they'd be able to control nature and working with nature. That makes more sense that the Florida one did dissipate so quickly, while the one in North Carolina, you know, they could just, okay, rank it up a little bit more, you know, crank up the energy weapon. So maybe it makes sense that the one in Florida was more of a natural situation. And because I do know people who are freaked out by the 10 feet, you know, sea surge, ocean surges, and all this stuff. And then now they're all going, yep, I got a couple of the windows in my lanai broke, but that's about it. And I still don't know a lanai. I think it's a patio that's covered or something. But yeah, everyone I know who is actually in Florida have very minor damage.
Nice. Yeah. So it wasn't so bad.
So have any of you ever watched Anonymous? There's a 46-minute video that came out a few days back. I think the title was Alex Jones Predicted This, and that's the one that they talk about the weaponization of it and all that. And then they showed when the first hurricane that hit North Carolina, you seen all of the radars, 2/3 of the United States, they're flashing all this real bright blue sending out this frequency, and there's nothing going over on the East Coast, and you see the storm moving and following along the path of what they were pushing out the frequency. So they directed that storm. After seeing the video, there's no doubt in my mind, if it is true what they were showing of them flashes and the frequency, they directed it right where they wanted it to hit. The second one, probably not, because that was probably like natural, but I think this one they manipulated so much because they really wanted the areas that it was going to affect.
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that. Like I said, then the natural one came in, and you know, the news, you know, if you're watching the news, it just shifted right over, like the other people didn't matter, and now it's down the memory hole. You know, you can't find anything of it. You find some YouTube videos where people are showing all their destruction in their backyard, and you know, people are helping, but basically those people have been abandoned. They've been their houses are gone. They're living on donations from locals and people around the country, and they're deserted, you know, and forgotten. And why? Why did the government turn face on them to go help Florida? You know, I think they were saying, you know, the government's down in Florida. They're rebuilding the roads and moving the sand and helping people out. And I'm thinking, oh, I didn't hear about North Carolina now, did I?
No, and not in Tennessee either. Matter of fact, Tennessee actually kicked FEMA out of their state because FEMA was not doing anything to help the people.
Yeah.
FEMA's broke.
Yeah,
they're broke. They have no money.
Yeah, they gave it away. They gave it away.
They did. They gave it away to Oh, what's that country over there? Lebanon.
Yeah, some one of those countries.
Yeah,
Well, let's just divide it up and say it was a lot of countries, but not ours.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and it's kind of sad to say, but this is all so true. And it's heartbreaking to see those families lose their houses, and I don't know what's going to happen to them. I mean, I can't imagine having a house for years, paying the mortgage, all that good stuff, having your car and everything, and then one day a big storm comes along, your house is destroyed, the land that you lived on is gone, your car is in the river somewhere, and all you got is the clothes on your back, and you hope that all your siblings and everybody else is still alive, and that's all you got now. Nothing. And you think the bank is going to not want their money back for their house? You better have insurance.
Well, even if that happens, and even if they don't get insurance, the land still has value, mineral rights. So yes, that make a lot of sense. That, well, I'm sorry you lost your house. I'm sorry about the insurance. The insurance paid you pennies on the dollar. Sorry about that. But hey, we're the government. We have more money. We'll buy you out of your house. We're going to save all these families and buy. This makes more sense now. This actually does put a lot of the clues are there. The clues are right there that people can't afford to build because they don't have the insurance, but the land still has value. So, and of course, real estate prices are up. So the government still can come in and say, because the government, it's a bottomless pit of money. There's no question about it. Even though they claim that they want to lower the debt ceiling, whatever they do, they can pay whatever they want, and they'll probably pay again undervalue because that's what the government does because they're just, but still, this makes sense. Mineral rights.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
I kind of have another scenario that they actually use this to possibly be able to postpone or call off the elections by saying these people have no place to vote. Their vote can't be counted right now, so let's postpone the election until these people are able to vote. It could be a possibility scenario why they directed these storms to where they did.
I don't think that it ever happened, but I do think it will be pushed by both sides because fear sells. So I don't think they'd ever postpone the election because everything's electronic.
Yeah.
But they will use it to say that, to manipulate people in that way. Definitely. That's the, anger and fear is whatever they can do and to pull out of it. That is true. Yes. Yes. So actually doing it, I don't think so, but saying they're going to do it. Oh yeah. I could see them doing that. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hopefully this doesn't happen again, and these people will find homes and good things will happen to them. They got a long road ahead of them. I just feel super bad for them. I mean, but there ain't really a whole lot person like they're keeping people out. There's no way we can really go there and help them. Most of all of us have jobs and things to do, and and see that's they just got to fend for themselves, and hopefully neighbors. That's why I always say your neighbor, your community, and that's where you need to be.
Yep.
And then we need to see the signs of this. If these things happen, Amber named all the places: Valentine, Lahaina, Maui, North Carolina, Michigan, California, fires, New York, immigration, Pennsylvania, all of these places. Yeah, there's much, much more than that are all having problems and things are happening. We need to, hopefully concentrate on our own area, stick with your community, know your neighbor.
I do know that there have been private companies and individuals that have sent and men and equipment down to help clear roads, and they were actually stopped and they were told not to enter where these were. And then people basically said, screw you, we're going in, you can't stop us. And there's people going in to help these people, not our government, but it shows how at time of need that people can truly come together and help each other. So there are people that's getting water to them, getting food to them. That's not our government. They're going down and helping them clear the roads. And they're doing it because they love humanity and they're wanting to help their brothers. So stuff like this can bring us together. It's how do we use the energy of what happened and our thought process of what happened, and how do we resolve the situation that's going on.
Yeah, exactly. It's draining thinking of it. But
yeah,
Lucky, you got any suggestions of what people could do, or how to go about this, and anything last words here? And we're going to wrap her up tonight. And I see everybody's going to head over to Max Vision Remote View. If you know where he is, go on over there. I'm going to try to set up a link for you guys. Go on over there. And remember, tomorrow night, Nina, go tune in to Nina. I won't be over there. She has her show over there tomorrow because it is Canada's Thanksgiving this weekend. So check that out. And here is the link for the show. So this is for, wait a minute. There we go. Anyway, Lucky, any last words?
I don't know. Just review the data that comes to you, because if it seems too good or too bad, it's probably somewhere in the middle somewhere. So I think that's our best bet to circumvent mind control, is to basically think if it looks too good to be true, or makes you too mad or too happy or too sad, you might be being manipulated, because extremism, I think, is our biggest enemy.
Yep. Yes, exactly. Well, with that, thanks, Grandpa Brian, for being on tonight.
Oh, my pleasure.
Getting this quite an interesting discussion. I mean, it could go lots of different ways. Like I said, I was going down the rabbit hole. I'm glad you guys got me straightened out. Sometimes my mind wanders, but it's not an impossibility, though.
That's the thing. It's somewhere in between. That's the problem, because it might probably be true in some part. You just got to figure which part is true 100%, and other parts are just extrapolated. Then you go from there.
Absolutely. Well, don't forget to check out Nina tomorrow, and go over to Max Vision and do some remote viewing right now on Max's his class. He's got it on. Here is the link in the chat. There you go, everybody. Head on over there. See you later. Thank you very much. And with that, remember, go out. Remember, important things: meet your neighbor and be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. Love you all. Peace, everybody.